time
It is
does your phone
3:57.
say?
3:57.
That's pretty close. 3:57.
We are live, I think. There we go. Hi, guys. So this is our second Facebook Live with Dr. Dooley and Mr. Evans. So I'll let them take it out. I didn't get any emails about questions.
Just one.
So we have one question about email.
No, one question.
We have one question on, that came in on Facebook, regarding, laptops for Native students where they purchased with JOM funds. Some of those funds, were used to purchase laptops for, some of our Native American students. And also a couple of hotspots, are being paid for, that the Native students are using. And then we do not have a balance on the JOM funds yet. Our business manager will finish putting that together for us. As soon as we balance everything out between CARES Act funds and everything else that's going on right now. So that's primarily what was there. And as far as tutoring and teacher availability, that is ongoing, especially on Wednesdays, individual tutoring is available as well.
We'd like to thank, first of all, I'd like to welcome you. It's been a couple of weeks since we've talked. We had a good turnout the last time. We appreciate the questions that are asked. We'd also like to thank Tabletop Telephone Company. We were concerned with the cost of hotspots for our families who didn't have Wi-Fi in the home. And Tabletop made the announcement earlier in the week that they will provide an opportunity for parents to apply for free Wi-Fi in the home and also a phone line. And
Only if you're not a current customer.
yeah, if you're a current customer and you already have it, you need to continue to pay that. So that's going to help our students that have a laptop and are having connective issues with hotspots. So we appreciate Tabletop working on that. We had a former board member that was a manager at Tabletop. She and I talked about this in March, and so I'm glad to see that came about. I'd like to reiterate during this COVID-19 time, we're all living with it. None of us are enjoying it. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. I noticed today on the news that our country surpassed 180,000 COVID-related deaths. That's pretty phenomenal. That's like 4 Prescotts or half a Tucson or something like that. So we need to be careful and stay safe. Our number one goal right now is to keep our staff and our students safe. We want kids to enjoy reading and math and social studies and science and do well. But if they're not safe, their academic success is secondary. So that's a big deal to us. Which brings me to the next point. I want to talk about opening a school. We had originally planned on starting the school, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, with a hybrid plan, where we'd have roughly each day on campus, so we could have social distancing. We had about 3 weeks ago, the governor had a special news conference and basically turned how schools are going to operate over to local superintendents and school boards. We convened a special board meeting to talk about that, and we, at that time, we elected to do everything online except for students with IEPs, special education students, until the end of first quarter. First quarter is on October 9th. I hope that we will. We're going to communicate to the community before that, at least a few days before that, so there's not last minute decisions being made. People have asked what we're going to make our decision based on. We're going to base it on data and science results that the Arizona Department of Health Services has. They have a metric system, and it looks like a stoplight, red, green, and yellow. As long as there's anything in red, we're not going to open, because that would put your child or our students in jeopardy. We'd love to see some green open. Once 100% of the categories are in green, but at least the majority of them, we can return to normalcy, school like we've all been used to. But this time we're not close to that. We have had a number of cases here in our community, and it's increasing. We've had cases related to the school district, and we're a small organization, but we still have had cases. We're trying to be very, very careful. If we have someone, either a student or a staff member, who we think may be carrying the virus, we take precautions immediately to keep those around that person safe. There's been a significant increase, according to the news, in cases in Arizona between August 3rd and August 20th. It's not hard to determine how that happens because of opening of schools. I was on a meeting this morning that involved the superintendent of TUSD, and they opened their schools, but they've had to close a number of schools because of such a heavy outbreak. So we don't like teaching kids online, we'd rather teach them in person, but we want to keep them safe, as I mentioned before. Please don't be shy about communicating with us. We try to keep current on events using Facebook, using our website, using the Copper News, emails. If you have the school office has an email for almost every parent now. If you have questions, please check with Mr. Edlund or I. It's important that you talk to us. We may have an answer. If we don't have an answer, we'll find it for you and get back to you, promise. It's a two-way street. Communication can't be just from us to you. We would like to hear back from you as far as how things are going with your children and questions you have, and help you spread the word to the families that may not feel comfortable calling for some reason. If we have any questions coming in, or Mr. Edlund, if you have anything you'd like to talk about.
I think one of the things that I would like to bring up about Edgenuity, we basically got to introduce this to the teachers a week before school started. So we're still trying to play catch up a little bit with them on some things. A few of the courses, not very many, but a few of them are heavy on assignment work. And we are going through and looking at the assignments that are duplicate standard type information, and we're going to look at how we can reduce the number of assignments for some of those courses. So far, we've only found about 7 courses out of all of our courses. We are continuing to look through those, and we are modifying those as quickly as possible so that they still meet all state standards. So bear with us. This is our first time through this as well, just like it is with you guys. So please be patient. Let us know your thoughts and any challenges or struggles that you're facing. Or I got a couple of emails earlier today about how much parents appreciate how our teachers are communicating with them. So I want to say thank you for communicating with us, and keep it up. We love to hear from you.
The longer I'm in education, the more I believe that learning is about relationships, and the relationships that you have with your own children help them learn. The relationships our teachers, our staff have with your children, our students, helps them learn. But in this type of environment where teachers are communicating with students and or parents weekly, we appreciate, I appreciate what Mr. Edlund just said, that he's hearing from people that like that. I think that's critical. I think that helps children learn when the home and the school have the same goals. Kids are going to benefit from that. Mr. Edlund talked briefly about state standards. State standards are basically educational goals for classes, for grade levels, and for subjects. They're not established by AHO schools. They're established for every school in the state, every public school in the state, by the State Board of Education. I feel that with the summer to prepare for this fall, we are better prepared than we were last March when the shutdown came about 15 hours before spring break was supposed to start and the spring intersession. So we're more prepared. I hope we're doing a better job. But again, we need to hear from you if you're having challenges and things that we can take a look at. We can't guarantee a change, but we can guarantee we'll look at it. So, questions, I can't read the questions.
No, that's just me.
She's typing something.
If you have any questions, you can send in, we'll hang around for a few minutes. There was an article in the Copper News this week regarding extracurricular activities, interscholastic sports. A letter that Mr. Young, Ms. Gallerani, and I sent out to parents a couple of weeks ago, went out to parents of all high school students in Pima County from the public high schools. No superintendent in Pima County, in a meeting I was participating in, no superintendent in Pima County was supportive of keeping kids healthy and socially distanced appropriately with fall sports. We don't know what will happen. Our league is called the Canyon Athletic Association. They cater mostly to small charter schools, parochial schools, Gila Bend, Ajo, the school in Lake Havasu, there's a school up by Cordes Junction. But football does not allow social distancing, not if they're doing it right. Neither is volleyball. And so I appreciate people understanding that. I think it's unfortunate. Students enjoy that. It also gives them something positive to do, help them stay physically in shape. But we will take a look once the school reopens. We hope it does. We'll take a look again at how much of our year is left and what sports we can have. We know we can do golf in the spring, for example, because it's easier to be socially distanced with golf. We don't offer as many interscholastic sports as large high schools do because we just don't have the people or the money to do that. But we'll take a closer look at that. I appreciate your understanding on that. Any questions, Owens?
One of the things that I would like for us to mention while we're talking about Edgenuity a little bit as well is students can attend their Zoom sessions with their teachers. However, once they've had their attendance taken, they can feel free to jump out of there and start working immediately in Edgenuity. We would like them to be making sure they're putting that time in every day in order to stay caught up in their classes and earn the scores and grades that they need to be putting in the time and completing assignments. So please do that. We still have to follow truancy laws and attendance laws. So that's very important that our students are participating in all of their classes every day and getting some work done in all of their classes. So just wanted to put that out there.
There's a state law involving attendance that affects your child, our student, academically with 10 absences per semester, regardless of the grade the student has. The state is saying they get an F. So we hope to have fall intersession the week of October 12th.
No, it's the week after that, the 19th.
Oh, that's right, it's the 19th, 2 weeks later. We'll also do a spring intersession and be in March. If your child has 5 absences or more, seriously consider having them participate in intersession because we can subtract absence days if they're making up time. But this is not a holiday for them. The governor made that very clear. He said there will still be 180 days of school. We will have opportunities for students with IEPs to be in school physically now. We're doing that. We must have our students being successful, otherwise we're not preparing them for what comes next, an upper grade or college or a trade school. So please help them stay on top of their classwork as they go. Not the last week of school. They won't be able to do it. 20 minutes, if we don't have anything in 2 or 3 minutes, we'll call it quits.
Does anyone have any questions?
I'm using my new speaker, microphone, and she's saying, so. About 28
Yeah.
people attending, if somebody has questions.
Good number of people attending.
If you hear that there was a lockdown in the school today, there was. We didn't have details at the time, but we heard that there was an unfortunate incident and why. And so to keep our students on campus and our staff safe, we did a lockdown for about probably a half hour, which basically meant that no one left a building that they were in at that time. We locked the doors. Nothing came close to putting any student or staff member at all schools in jeopardy, but we don't want to take a chance with something like that. So I'm sure that is already on the news, and I'm sure if you watch Tucson news at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whenever you watch Tucson news, there'll be a story about that. So I feel bad for what happened to some people, but we kept our students safe. Oh, I thought it was 20 after. That's all we do. Hang on.
Another 5 minutes or so.
That's the most, I think.
See if we have any questions. Run out of things to say.
What are you typing in there, Angelina?
This is, state standards that I sent a link to,
Oh, thank you.
reminding my email address. There's no messages, there's no comments, so I'm not getting any emails.
We could put on a song and dance. Oh, yes, please make sure your email addresses are up to date.
Yes. Parents, if you change email address or your physical address during the school year, please don't forget to tell the school office. If there was an accident or if your child become ill during the day and we can't get a hold of you, that makes their situation much less comfortable for them. So we'd like to be able to get in contact with you as much as possible. Email addresses are fantastic.
And
If we can update those, we can send out messages quickly.
Exactly. We've been we've been working very hard to improve communication with families from our side of things. We are to the point now where I believe we have email addresses for all but 8 or possibly 9 families in the district. So we're communicating through email on a very, very regular basis. I think you're seeing at least 1, if not 2 messages a week coming out from the district at this point in time.
But I know I'm off camera, but for the letter that I sent to parents today, I got about 5 that bounced back to me that's incorrect.
Okay.
So even if you have an email address with the school office, please contact them. If you've been receiving emails from me, then that's great, but if not, please contact them to make sure that there was no typo, that, some letters or numbers didn't get transposed.
I just got a message that says someone is seeing messages or questions that are not addressed yet. So,
Where are those at?
I don't know.
If you could comment in the comment sections on the live video. I don't see any, oh, wait. Nope. I don't see any comments on the live video. If I go to Messenger while the video is going live, it's gonna shut the
Hold on.
live off.
I will go over to Messenger and see what's on my phone. Oh, hold on, let's see.
We've got questions from live feed.
I am not seeing, I saw one messenger message come through that said, you've got questions on the live feed, can't you see them? I'm sorry, we can't see them at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions on my live feed. If they come in through Messenger, it's really hard to see, except for, oh, maybe. Yep, that's it. Here we go. Will map testing take place this quarter? So,
Oh,
what will
good
it look like?
question.
Will map testing take place this quarter? That is a question that came in, actually prior to, the meeting. We are working on finding out from the state what we're going to do about map testing this quarter. The directive that we had said that map testing or benchmark testing, which is map testing, would need to occur. But then it said not until within 6 weeks of beginning in-person learning. I've got 2 messages off to the Department of Education requesting information from their testing department. The first time I sent it, they said that they would put out a frequently asked questions answer and that would be part of it. That did not come out. And then the last I sent to them yesterday has not been returned yet. So as soon as we know more about that, we'll let you know, because we're not sure how that would take place at this point in time to get an accurate reflection of students' current levels working remotely.
So one of the comments that was made about, that goes a little long, Mr. Edlin's going to answer that by email from, a parent, Mrs. Hernandez. Jeannie Leon wants to be added to the phone list when there's a lockdown. So we apologize that we should have called, Head Start and gotten them in on that, but that will happen on future. So far, those are the only comments that I see. Oh, Head Start would like to be added to the phone list when there is a lockdown campus. Thank you, Jeannie. We will make sure that we do that in future. There's a message saying that we have other messages. And I don't see
I don't
anything
see them
else.
at all.
If we find messages that we've missed for some reason, once we sign off, we will communicate that to you for people directly. Or put it on Facebook at least so you can see it. If we don't know where it came from.
It's really weird. Is there some setting that maybe is off on the left side, perhaps?
It's allowing comment moderation slow, and I can come down here, and then it's not restricted, it's just slow. So that if there was a lot, I can type before the end of the comments come down.
It's not, yeah, I mean, there are no restrictions on comments coming in.
So the last one I got, was from Jeannie and Marissa, Amy Runge, commenting about comments.
Strange.
And that's all I
That makes no sense if we have comments out there that we can't see.
Any-
Had last time.
Yeah, last time we had tons coming through. It's the same settings.
A different area.
I, I see it quite, okay, so we do have a few of them here now. One relates to, their children are having trouble staying connected to, their Wi-Fi, seems to not want to support two students at once. That should be definitely not a problem with basic, even with basic Wi-Fi through tabletop. They say that they can support up to 5 devices. Is what they had told us. Our hotspots that we have are only supporting, maybe 1 or 2. And they are Verizon type hotspots, the ones that we have. So I would encourage you to please contact Tabletop Telephone about Wi-Fi if you're having issues like that. Let's see here. And that's the only other.
Dory Wade just asked, will we be hearing about any changes as Pima County restrictions are easing a bit, or is it too early to know anything yet?
We will probably follow the state instead of Pima County because we're closer to the population center of Phoenix area. Most of Pima County Health Department, I was told this morning, they're receiving their information from the Arizona Department of Health Services out of Phoenix. So we'll probably check them both. We don't plan on making a decision until at least the 1st of October on what we're going to do second quarter, but it will depend on the state status and the community and state status, because it's not just Ajo. We have border wall workers going through town every day. We now have people on the weekends going through from the Phoenix area to Rocky Point. So while we're a little town in the middle of the desert by ourselves, we have people coming through that could be infected from the Phoenix area, or from their work, or from their next door neighborhood. So we're going to follow what the state says.
And that's one of the other things that we have to take into account is we are a more rural area. So things are tending to lag a little bit here as far as the way things are transmitting. It hit Ajo late. The virus actually hit Ajo late compared to a lot of the rest of the state. We have had cases in our school community. So we're trying to take caution, but we want to get our kids back too. So we will consider all of that.
Robert wants us to see something with cafeteria.
Oh, we have a fantastic cafeteria program. If your child is enrolled in our school, you can pick up free breakfast, free lunch. Robert and his staff do a good job. I happened to eat there yesterday, best restaurant in town.
From 9:30 to 1 o'clock?
From 9 a.m. till 12:30, till 1:30. From 9 a.m. till 1:30, the cafeteria is providing meals right now. And then I believe we have another announcement coming very soon about other opportunities for picking up meals for your kids. We're working on that as well.
To have different stations for about an hour or two around town where if kids are walking or if they're home by themselves, they can walk a block instead of walking all the way over to the other side of town. So that hasn't been totally approved yet through the state. because this is a federally funded program. So as soon as we get the green light for that, we will start advertising about, different sites to pick up lunches, that you would get at the cafeteria if you live on Cameron or Thompson or any of the streets like that.
We just got a question that says, any chance for grab-and-go lunches available closer to parking? We were just kind of talking about that. We're going to try and have different locations set up around town for an hour or so at a time where people could grab and go, basically, to make it easier. We can't have people necessarily driving through campus because we do have some students that are on campus right now. We have to protect their
Keep them
safety.
safe.
But that's something we can talk to Mr. Ogden about cafeteria and see if there's any other way we can get food for grab and go closer to the parking lot. Maybe, I don't know if there's an option for that at all.
I don't know. Right now, we're working with Pima County Parks and Rec to maybe have a bus sit in Bud Walker parking lot for an hour, or in Gibson Park for an hour, though it's not called Gibson Park, but it's the one over on Cameron and Thompson. That hasn't been, like, again, what I said, that hasn't been totally approved by the state yet, but as soon as that happens, we can go from there. If we give out meals on campus, it has to be from the cafeteria. If we have multiple sites if we have multiple areas on one building site, then we're getting into some weeds there, especially if it's, 50, 100 feet from, the actual cafeteria. So we can extend it to make it easier, like Bud Walker Park, Gibson Park, maybe even, the plaza, but we can't have two areas to give out food on the same site, if that makes sense.
So, yes, Mr. Ogden actually asked that we mention that you can get both breakfast and lunch together at the same time. So make one stop, get two meals. So please don't think you have to come back twice to get two separate meals. We are happy to give them both to you at the same time.
And I had a conversation with a parent during the summer that said, oh, well, I feel bad because, we don't really need, they can eat the food that we have, in the house, and we don't want to take it away from the kids that might need it. So the way our food service program works is we get paid for the amount of meals we give out. So if you come and you grab a meal, you're not taking a meal away from a child.
No.
Correct.
So we get paid, we offer as many meals as possible, especially with us being 100% free for Division II second year. Every child K through 12 gets, a free meal regardless of what their financial status is. And you won't be taking away from another kid. You'll just be helping out the cafeteria by adding another meal that we get reimbursed for, if that makes sense.
These programs are funded by federal dollars. And the only difference between this program and the summer program was summer program, we can feed any child under the age of 18 or under. The school program, we have to have a student has to be enrolled in our school. So it helps the government use food constructively that they subsidize farmers in the Midwest for. So please use that service if you so desire.
So I have a kind of long question. There was a huge load of weekend school or work being given, and honestly, the kids need some downtime. I'm all for work and it not coming easy, but everyone needs to reboot at some point. I did speak with the teacher yesterday, and she said there would be a revisit in the amount of weekend homework that was being given. Is this something that can be changed?
That goes back to the question or the statement that I made earlier about we're looking at some of those courses that have too many assignments, basically. The course is too long based on duplicate assignments, duplicate information. So we're going through and we're looking at that. There's about 7 classes right now that we've seen that need to have some adjustment made to them, and we are currently working on those. As far as the weekend work, we left the weekend days in the calendar. So Edgenuity automatically assigns the days that those are done. We can take the weekend days out. All it's going to do is shift assignments to either a Friday or a Monday, though. We realize that anything that says it has a due date on a weekend is not due on those days. You know, some teachers are telling kids Friday for a few of the assignments or Monday for a few of the assignments. But understand we are working on this. We can take all of the Saturdays and Sundays out. We're working on trying to figure out a way to do that right now. I think it's going to be pretty easy for us to actually do, but we don't want people to feel overwhelmed as well. Obviously, as a middle school, high school student, most of them are going to have weekend homework, and most high schools, junior high students always have homework a little bit anyway on the weekend that they have to do. So we are working on that, though. So please bear with us as we continue to try and work our way through that. It's something that we are definitely putting effort into.
So I have another question about giving out hotspots to people who already have Wi-Fi but have more than one student or laptop going at the same time. I'd probably be better if we talk to Tabletop about upping your bandwidth.
We have a very limited number of hotspots, and so until the tabletop decision was made, we were really passing those out sparingly because for families that had no Wi-Fi connection at all, we wanted to use those to help that family. So we need to see before we would provide hotspots for a family that already has Wi-Fi. We'd want to make sure tabletop couldn't up the bandwidth for your home, and that there was other alternatives because we do have a very limited source of those. Those are pretty expensive items as far as the fee on them.
So now that we're using 2 laptops and looking at the comments, I don't see anything else that has come in for the last 2-3 minutes. I think we got everything.
I think so.
The district received funds from the CARES Act that the Congress, the U.S. Congress, and Donald Trump passed a couple of months ago. We received more funds than we thought we would, but we probably used 50% more than the allocated resources we received from the federal government. By purchasing extra laptops, Chromebooks, curriculum from Edgenuity, hotspots, masks, thermometers, things of that nature. It's a pretty expensive operation, and much of that was never done before because we didn't need thermometers for every teacher. We didn't need $22,000 worth of face masks, for example, because we didn't have this type of virus to contend with. So funds are always a challenge for public schools in Arizona, and we're experiencing some of that.
That's all I have on here. Have students any issue connecting to online sessions? From Gabrielle Beard.
Connecting to online sessions? We haven't had any feedback on that.
Not that we're aware of, at least.
Yeah, not that we're aware of.
I know it, here on campus even, because we have fiber, if we have all the kids coming into the server, plus the staff that's using the things and whoever's working from home. So I know even our internet's been a little bit slow. We have a T1 fiber through here. So I think it's just everybody getting on all at the same time and trying to do internet all at the same time. Everybody's gonna be running a little slow.
I think probably tabletop's probably a little overwhelmed with the amount of bandwidth that's going through at their facility, I would imagine as
And
well.
we did increase the school's bandwidth about a month ago significantly. Does Edgenuity use an inordinate amount of format? Does Edgenuity use an inordinate amount of bandwidth?
No, their videos are very short, so they don't use a whole lot of bandwidth. And they're not like dramatically animated, colorful, so they don't pull a lot.
Most of that lecture or demonstration.
Yeah.
About one more minute, I think we'll hang it up.
Well, we appreciate everybody that logged in to watch, to ask questions. Or whatever you feel, if you watch this live event later on, obviously it's not gonna be live, but if you have any questions, you can still comment from the recording on here, and we will get it. Hopefully, I have to check the message settings, or email us at angelina@appleschools.org, or leglund@appleschools.org. If you have any questions that you pop into your head, and we can answer for you.
We hope to do another one of these sessions in 2 to 3 weeks. If you have topics that you'd like us to address prior to that town hall, please communicate with one of us, and we will do our best to do that. If something comes up that's extremely important to contact the community in all ways, we'll do it before 2 or 3 weeks. But right now, I think it can probably about the week of 14th of September, something like that. We'll try to do this again. Thank you, folks. Appreciate your being tuned in.
Thanks again. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Stay safe.